Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21. It's round 14 of the Moto 3 career mode, right here in the Aragon GP. So starting in pole position is Darren Binder with Gabriel Rodrigo and John McPhee on the front row, Alcoba, Acosta and Tatsuki Suzuki, Grant Guevara, Foggia, Toba, Mino, Garcia, Fernata, Yamanaka, Antonelli, Artigas, Onchu, Masia, Salach, Sasaki, Dupasquier, Fernandez, Nepa, Tatai, Rossi, Fallon, Farad, Izdihar, Koffler and Yuki Kuni at the back of the grid. So we look to the lights now, waiting for those illustrious red lights to disappear, and they've disappeared. Grant absolutely giving it 110% with power setting 1. We are absolutely swarmed going into turn 1. We'll try and get up on the inside, or at least get into our position so we don't get tagged from behind. Thankfully we managed to successfully navigate turn 1 without too much hiccups. As we go round the outside of Ethan Guevara, Dennis Foggia ahead of us, Tatsuki Suzuki on there as well, so we'll try and get through on the Leopard Racing rider in a moment's time. The Leopard Honda, of course, should be very strong here in this magnificent Spanish track. As we go on to the left-hand side for turn 5, waiting for the moment to attack Dennis Foggia. Can we go around the outside, leaning practically on his Honda there? KTM or Husqvarna on the outside of him. Now going around the outside potentially. Can we get it stick? Oh, that is beautiful. Round the outside into turn 7, but look at the speed that Foggia will have upon the exit of turn 7. Now for the right-hand side for turn 8. Difficult corner to navigate this one, but we're trying to chuck it up on the inside of Foggia. Gave him a little bit of a bump for good measure. It was unintentional, so I do apologise, Dennis, but right now we get past the Rocket, and now it's time to chase down Callahan, Acosta, Alcoba, Rodrigo and Darren Binder, who is leading this Grand Prix. Darren Binder is the last rider we want to be leading this Grand Prix. We do not fancy relinquishing the championship lead to him today. Never, actually. We don't want to relinquish it at all. We're going to give it 110%. You know what, 120%, because that's the same as the difficulty that we're on. 120%. Extreme amount of performance as we close right into Tatsuki Suzuki there. They call him Callahan. We just got a little bit too close to his rear tyre there as well. My front Dunlop tyre and my hard front Dunlop tyre gave his rear Dunlop tyre a little bit of a kiss. Not ideal when you're battling for position and jostling, but right now there's nothing else we can do. And look how much gap they got on us just by utilising a different power setting that isn't power setting 1. We are getting swarmed going into the final couple of corners. Now for the left-hand side for turn 16. We lost around 4 places already in just one little corner. Goodness me, that is not ideal. Mino managed to get ahead of us, and the 2 Aspar riders, Garcia and Guevara, managed to move as well. 4 abreast going into turn 1 potentially here for this one. In fact, I can't even count. It's 5 abreast if we're not careful. As we go into turn 1, Foggia gets bumped wide from Guevara. Great stuff there, as a little bit of rubbing is racing, as we know. Now onto the right-hand side for turn 2. We're going to try and go round the outside of Dennis Foggia here. Try and catch him napping, but he's defending extremely well. But we might have the drive up onto the left-hand side for the next couple of corners. Turn 4 to be navigated now. On the brakes into turn 5, perhaps not quite. Didn't really have the confidence to go for it there in Foggia, but we got the drive on the exit. That is brilliant. We can't really get the drive usually when we're on power setting 1, but that worked to fruition here today. Now on to the very innocuous turn 7, getting closer to Guevara, give him a little bit of a shove there. Not ideal, I do apologise, Guevara. It wasn't anything personal, but we're just trying to get through. When we're onto this power setting, we have to give everything we've got to try and get through on these riders. We get closer and closer to the Viennese Snipers Honda of Andrea Mino. Tatsuki Suzuki still holding his ground in 6th place. Not much of an impression has been made from Pedro Acosta to the 2 guys ahead of him with Gabriel Rodrigo and Darren Binder, and those are the 2 championship contenders right after Grant. So we have to be very, very careful. We have to make sure that they do not get to the front and disappear, because there's no way we can catch them as we go a little bit wide there and get our first track limit warning of this Grand Prix. Too many long lap penalties for us this season, and I don't fancy another one here today. Now on to turn 14, get ready to run it wide a little bit to get the inside line onto turn 15. Beautifully done onto Andrea Mino, a little bit of contact made there though. Goodness me, Mino and Grant have had some battles this season, and most of them were all ended in some sort of like contact or some sort of collision. Goodness me, 0.2 of a second behind is Ethan Guevara, so we might actually hold position as we get onto the left-hand side for turn 16, and then for 17, Tatsuki Suzuki. Beautiful riding style for him as we get picked off into the corner. Ethan Guevara, nope, it doesn't matter, we're still holding the line, just temporarily at least, as Gabriel Rodrigo sets faster lap, beaten then by Pedro Acosta with a 2:01.022. We're 4/10 behind those 2 guys. That's not ideal as we get really... Oh, it's getting tight into turn 1. Careful, guys! Goodness me! Andrea Mino was the big loser in that corner there. Did not think that was going to stick, but somehow we made it work. Carlos Checa corner to be navigated now. Drop it down into 4th gear just to give us that extra oomph coming out of the corner. As we then get onto the left-hand side, Suzuki's right there. They call him Callahan, but we're not friends, so he's Suzuki right now. Left-hand side for turn 5. John McPhee, he's in 4th place as well. Didn't really mention him when I mentioned the top couple of riders battling it out for the victory right now. So this is fascinating for us right now. We have clear space. There's no one ahead of us or behind us who can actually make a significant difference. So we're going to see what we can do. Hopefully we can just close in a little bit more onto John McPhee and Acosta and try and get some slipstream, because it's going to be absolutely crucial on that back straight. We'll have absolutely no chance of chasing these guys down if the guys from behind get into the slipstream and start making some silly moves, or even just chucking it up on the inside and making a bit of contact. We are getting away a little bit from Tatsuki Suzuki, but not enough to really make an impression on the front runners as of yet. But of course this is still a long race. Who knows what's in store for us yet. We managed to navigate that corner beautifully there. I do love that sort of really tight sort of left-hander for turn 12. It can catch you off guard, so do be careful going into there. But thankfully we nailed it pretty well as we go for turn 15 to the left-hand side. So pay attention to the gap. Left-hand side of your screen right now, Tatsuki Suzuki is 7.5 tenths of a second behind. Where is he going to be as we get into turn 16 in a moment's time? We have lost quite a lot of time to John McPhee, and Suzuki-san is closing rapidly. He might be ahead of us into the final corner here. Goodness me, we lost 6 tenths of a second to Suzuki-san in just one corner, one straight. We're going to have to be on our best game now. We have to make sure that we navigate every corner correctly to try and take as much of an advantage as possible. But yet again, another lap where we're 4 tenths behind the fastest man on track, which is Pedro Acosta. Now, I mentioned this in qualifying, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the race as of yet, but I am concerned with that. And this is what I feared going into Aragon. This is what I was sort of concerned about mostly, is just losing so much time on the straights. I knew it would be difficult, but if we can just utilise our corner speed, utilise our bravery in the corners as we get a little bit wide, completely out of shape there into turn 5, that's going to be another track limit warning if not careful, which I think is a little bit harsh because Suzuki got ahead of us with no problem. I didn't hinder his performance, and I certainly didn't gain an advantage, but unfortunately we were given 2 penalties there again, just like Silverstone. Actually, Silverstone was just ridiculous. They gave us 2 penalties in one corner for one mistake. It was just absurd. But John McPhee is actually losing the toe here to Pedro Acosta. And is that... Darren Binder is now into the lead. Goodness me, that's the last thing we want here. Us to be struggling in 6th place, trying to do our best to chase down Suzuki-san. And we are just falling backwards if we're not careful. Now onto the back straight in a moment's time. Andrea Mino currently is 3 tenths of a second. We'll see what happens as we go into the next couple of corners. But if that's the case, Mino will have us. He'll have us for dinner. Well, there's absolutely nothing we'll be able to do about it, so we'll have to get ahead of Suzuki and try and just hold him back a little bit as we go up in the inside turn 14. Not quite, but we might have the inside line for turn 15. Lining him up, going for it now. Beautiful. Bit more contact there for good measure. But Suzuki is right behind by a tenth. John McPhee, the gap to him is about 1.2 seconds. As we get closer and closer to the end of this straight, I think I'll be up to about 1.4. As Suzuki uses the speed, Mino using speed as well. I don't doubt that Ethan Guevara... Oh, in fact, Ethan Guevara is actually 8 tenths of a second behind. So it's probably just these 3 battling out for 5th place. John McPhee in a lonely ride for 4th. As we dive over the inside of Suzuki, that was a great move. Maybe that's what we could be doing on the final corner of the last lap of the race, if things need it. As Suzuki, Mino, getting very close, just feinting moves all the time, not giving us a chance to break away. And I can't blame them. That's what you got to do. We know we have the power to get past them. Well, at least not the power in this instance because we're on power setting 1. But we do have the pace and the speed to get away from these guys and potentially chase down John McPhee. At the very least, I need to be taking 4th place. I can't be losing too many points to Darren Binder and Gabriel Rodrigo. Now, actually, Pedro Acosta's doing me a solid here. The KTM rider getting up in the inside of the 2 Honda men. And he is leading the charge right here in the Aragon GP, right here in Alcanites. Now, actually, it's a great time to be doing this Grand Prix, as of course, World Superbike is on this weekend, right here in this very same track, the magnificent Aragon GP, which I cannot wait for, so fingers crossed if you're all looking forward to that. Let me know in the comments section down below who you think's going to win, who do you think's going to be the favourite for World Superbike, and let's discuss it in the comment section down below. So left-hand side for turn 10. The left-hand side of the medium rear tyre that we've got in there is looking a little bit worse for wear. But for the rest of the tyre, not too bad. The fat part is pretty good. So we'll just see how things progress for the rest of the race. But onto the left-hand side for turn 12. Quite gentle now compared to what we did on the previous lap. Much cleaner as we get closer and closer to John McPhee, who's 1 second ahead of us. So if we get in close here, we're still not going to be able to get into the slipstream, which is a bit concerning for us. And bear in mind, we lost 0.6 of a second on this straight last time, Suzuki-san. We could be losing the same amount here. Just try and get into the slipstream. Just get close enough, please. We might actually be picking up a little bit of draft there. Not probably enough, but it might be quite minimal. But still, as long as there's something, it's better than nothing, of course. And we did manage to hold off Suzuki in this particular corner. That is good news. That's a positive sign here. As we'll now get onto the left-hand side for turn 17. The final corner of Aragon. Beautiful, beautiful corner. I must say, I do really like this track. I think it's a fantastic track. So 5 laps in, Grant takes his fastest lap of the race so far. Personal best for him. Pedro Acosta's, of course, still the fastest man on track right now with a 2 minute 7.71. And we have closed right in on John McPhee, and I didn't expect it to do that. Potentially the hard front is probably coming into its own right now. Maybe John McPhee has lowered the power setting and probably using medium tyres. So fingers crossed we can start taking advantage. We know we're good on the brakes, and Aragon requires a lot of strong, heavy braking. And we are very, very clean. Look how much we've closed in on John McPhee. The Scottish rider will bound to be beaten in a moment's time. I'm not sure if we can get it done into turn 7, but you better believe I'll have a look at it if we can make it. We didn't quite make it there. We're a little bit wide. Probably should have tried to keep the same line as always to try and get that extra drive. Turn 8, I'm not going to be close enough for a lunge. I don't think I will be close enough for any lunge into the corkscrew section just because of the lack of power we get on the exit of turn 7. But turn 10 to be navigated. If we can stay within John McPhee, just in his slipstream, and give it everything we've got, we might be able to just close in for turn 12. Could potentially have a lunge on the inside of turn 12. The AI tends to brake a little bit earlier than necessary. So here we go, coming up to turn 12. Not quite. Taking it somewhat steady, but we'll get onto the rumble strip. Get closer and closer to the Petronas Sprinter Racer. Can we go for the inside here going into turn 13? That is beautiful. Great drive. Excuse me, that was turn 14. I'm getting a bit behind here as we go into the left-hand side for turn 15 and get away from John McPhee as quick as possible. Goes 0.3 of a second is John McPhee. He is only behind us, very, very close now. And forget about the gap. He's going to be charging past in a minute. Where's he going on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? Where's he coming from? Where are you, John? He's there on the left-hand side. John, reveal yourself. Now onto the left-hand side. McPhee up on the inside. Beautifully done for the man from Scotland. As we go onto the left-hand side, you know the triangle, go for it in turn 17, bit of a shove, picks up this Petronas Sprinter Honda and says, look mate, we have to work together, and I know I'm not working together. There's Mino's there as well. Oh, go away Mino. He always comes at the worst points. We're now going to turn 1 to try and regain 4th position. Not quite, we've run it wide. And a track limits warning, why? I know we made the mistake, but we gained no advantage. That's so unfair. Oh, never mind. We now have to do 4 laps without making a single mistake as we're trying to battle and put major pressure on other riders with major pressure already inserted to ourselves due to the championship standings right now. Turn 6 getting closer and closer to John McPhee. Turn 7 not going for a lunge, trying to follow his line, trying to stay with him as much as possible, steal as much slipstream as we can. Down by 0.4 of a second already in this particular lap due to that mistake into turn 1. Now onto the left-hand side for turn 9, closing in on John McPhee. Now I'm going to go for a wider line here and try and get the sweep on him. If we stay with him and utilise all the slipstream, getting very close to the rear of him there actually, that worked much better going wider into turn 10 rather than taking that tight apex. We might be able to get him up into the inside of turn 12 here. Can we go around the outside into turn 12? We can put that in the archive if it works. Oh, yes, has it worked? Not quite, maybe? Yes! Up on the inside for turn 13. Put that in the DrAce archive, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant, brilliant stuff there from Grant. Turn 14 to be navigated. Turn 15 to be navigated once again. Closing in on the riders ahead. 0.6 of a second to John McPhee. I don't know where to go to try and get him to avoid our slipstream. I'm not going to start weaving because that will lose a lot of time. But considering we made that massive... Oh my god, look at the speed! Look at the speed! Goodness me, he's bumped straight into the back of me. Thought he would at least go to the left or the right. Maybe he wants to use my slipstream for the next couple of laps and see if we can chase down the guys ahead of us. I'm not sure, but that gave me a bit of an extra boost, that did. We're up by almost 0.2 of a second compared to our personal best sector, or at least our personal best lap time set earlier on. So our personal best lap is in, a 2:01.031. But we got bigger fish to fry right now as John McPhee gets up on the inside for turn 1. Brilliant move from the Honda man. We might be able to go around the outside. Oh, he just picks me up in the corner there for turn 2. We are really not helping each other as we give him a big don't argue up into turn 3. Get out of my way, Sunbeam, because we can't be messing around now. Carlos checkered corner navigated pretty well. He'd be proud of that one, I'm sure, as we go into turn 4. Now in turn 5, hard on the braking. You know what, at this point, I'm just going to go for it. Go all out now and try and chase the guys ahead of us. Don't even mind what happens. We're up by 0.4 of a second in this sector alone. That is brilliant, especially considering we had to battle John McPhee. That is really, really impressive. So half a second gap it is to John McPhee. Maybe he has now given up. Maybe that's his resolve gone. Who knows? We'll go into turn 9, getting closer and closer to Darren Binder. You know we're going to go for this wider line because that worked out a treat last time. Now onto the left-hand side for turn 10. Holding a nice smooth throttle, just dropping it down every now and again if we feel like we're going a little bit too far. Turn 12 are very confident, very strong in. Let's see if we can just take maybe a couple of tenths of a second away from them here. On the left-hand side of the tyre, braking in for turn 12. Ooh, careful on the acceleration. If that was any power setting than power setting 1, we would have gone straight into the gravel, and we probably would have high-sided like Danny Pedrosa did in 2013, I think it was, when Marquez just bumped him. I think Marquez hit his traction control that day. I remember the hoo-ha that caused out after it. So, looking at the left-hand side of the screen, Darren Binder is 0.6 of a second. Excuse me, John McPhee is 0.4. It doesn't matter now. You know he's coming. You know he's coming. I didn't even get a chance to say what I was going to say because it happened so quickly, and John McPhee's up on the inside. That is just unbelievable. What can we do to defend against this man? How on earth are we going to get on the podium here today in this magnificent Spanish track? This has been a brilliant race. As always, to be honest with you, every single Moto3 race has been absolutely phenomenal. Just like real life, no less. Can we go over the inside of John McPhee into turn 1 this time? Please don't butcher it. Up on the inside, we sort of hesitated, not going to lie. Hesitate because I didn't fancy making a mistake. But together, John McPhee and I are getting closer and closer to Darren Binder. Maybe we shouldn't have been messing around. Maybe we should have worked together. Goodness me. Went right over the inside there. John McPhee definitely didn't see that coming, going into the Carlos Checker corner. Now for turn 5. Binder's a bit of a sitting duck here. What has happened to the man who was leading this Grand Prix earlier on? He seems to be a bit of a target now, and you know we've got the bit between our teeth. If we can finish ahead of Darren Binder, then that is like a victory. That would be absolutely superb for the championship. And this may have been the toughest race we have had to compete in Moto3 this season in this career mode. There is so many eager riders behind us who are holding nothing back, and we are desperate to try and chase down Darren Binder and the guys in front. We have squabbled, we have jostled for position, we've exchanged paint, we've bashed Dunlops into tyre, we've done everything. We've bashed tyres into everyone, we've done absolutely everything, and now we could be staring at a potential podium and even increasing the championship lead on Darren Binder if we manage to get ahead of him. This could be a massive turnaround. This is one of your points where you look at for the championship at the end and say, you know what? This is where the face of adversity was seen and spat into. As we go into the left-hand side, I'm told him offline. He appeared to be offline, but never mind about that. I'm getting up at the inside of Darren Binder. I don't care if I'm offline. Don't even know what happened there. Don't even know what that notification was. We're getting into the outside of Darren Binder. Alongside him, or behind him now. We get alongside now, using the slipstream. Up on the inside for turn 16. Come on, brilliantly done. Shook the Husqvarna right up at the inside of him and said, welcome to my championship, Sunbeam. This is not Moto3 Championship, this is DrAce's Moto3 Championship. This is more important, this is ours. As we get across the line, brilliant lap time there. A 2:08 for us. As Binder's trying to get round the outside again. He sort of hesitated because he knew we were cutting across the track there, trying to cut his nose off, and it definitely worked. Now it's time to get away. It's Operation Run Away from Binder time. We've done this before, we'll do it again here. Now into the Carlos Checker, chucking it down to 4th gear to get an extra oomph, just to escape Darren Binder's clutches. He's 0.6 of a second behind. Do not... Oh, whoa. That was super close to touching the outside of the track then. If I got a long lap penalty on that one, controllers would have been thrown. Now onto the right-hand side for turn 7. We're a second behind Acosta and Rodrigo here. But I tell you what, we have a lot of drive still left in these tyres. And I think if this was another couple of laps, we could probably chase these guys down too. This has been brilliant. And bearing in mind, we hardly touched the practice sessions. we jump straight into qualifying pretty much immediately and just deal with the cards that we were dealt. Now to the left-hand side for turn 10 for the very final time of asking. Turn 12 to be navigated in a moment. I'm a little bit concerned for this one, because if we touch the outside of the track, it's long lap penalty time, and you know we can't afford that. Turn 12, a little bit too tight, but we navigated it well. Now onto the right-hand side for turn 13. Turn 14 to be navigated in a minute as well. Onto the right-hand side of the tyre. Careful on the right-hand side, there's not much life there. Flick it to the left for turn 15, and goodness me, we have closed right in on Acosta and Rodrigo ahead of us. But I think we've done it. I think we're going to hold on. Actually, what on earth has happened to Darren Binder? I wasn't paying attention to this, but Binder's in 6th place. That's amazing. We are going to come out with an extended championship lead on Darren Binder. This is phenomenal. What a performance from Grant. A podium finish here. Feels like a win, but Pedro Acosta got over the inside. Rodrigo fights back. Who's going to win the race? Did Rodrigo win it? I think Rodrigo won. Acosta second and Grant third. Confirmation on your screens right now, Rodrigo wins from Acosta and Grant, and I think that's the first time we've seen all three manufacturers in the top three, Honda, KTM and Husqvarna. What a valiant effort from the World Championship leader, Matt Grant. So look at the championship standings, we improved upon the lead on Darren Binder, but we then lost the gap to Gabriel Rodrigo, so Rodrigo is only 18 points behind Grant, Darren Binder with 24 points behind the British rider. So we're now a quick look at the Team Championship. Petronas Sprinter Racing up by 10 points ahead of Red Bull KTM after their second place finish. And Team Gracenia Honda winning in Moto 3 here today puts them up into 3rd place and moves Cyril Garda Max Racing Team down to 4th. So a 3rd place finish for Matt Grant, and to tell you what, that feels like a victory here today. That is a magnificent finish for us in such a difficult Grand Prix. Difficult circumstances qualifying in 6th place. But I tell you what guys, I absolutely loved it. And if you guys enjoyed that one as much as I did, like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce video. And upon that note guys, thanks for watching and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.